Very good morning to you and welcome to this edition of the program. Good morning, Anambra. I want to believe that you had a beautiful weekend, regardless of all that is going on in the world. Let's keep up a joyful face, a beautiful heart, and of course keeping on and just believing that everything will definitely be fine someday. I'm Iberi Ugunda. Welcome again to Good Morning, Anambra. It's time for press review. Let's take you over for the papers this morning. All right, glad to have you back. It's Good Morning, Anambra, and it's time for us to look at the various papers we have this morning. Well, I'm not going to be doing it alone this morning because I already have two amazing guests who will be helping. We'll be looking at the papers this morning and analyzing what's going on in the paper. My very first guest this morning is Mr. Jerry Obodo. He's a public affairs analyst. Good morning to have you, Jerry.
Good morning. Anambra, may the peace of Christ be with you, not that of man, because peace of man is peace of graveyard.
The Anambra says, all right, and my second guest this morning is no other than Comrade Abuchi Omumelu, also a public affairs analyst. Comrade, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Anambra.
All right, so let's kickstart. Let's begin with stories making the headlines on our ABS website. We've got some couple of stories there. Let's look at them and, of course, discuss one or two. The very first one we have says Anambra Police Command talks tough over murder of Anambra lawmaker. Soludorin State resolved to tackle insecurity in Anambra, announces 10 million naira bounty reward for information on killers of lawmaker. Anambra Culture, Tourism and Entertainment Commissioner Onyenji urges Ndibo to promote cultural heritage. And WHO advocates physical exercise to reduce burden of diseases. And finally, we have Anambra State Assembly mourns murdered member, calls for collective action against insecurity. Those are stories making the headlines on our ABS website, Mr. Jerry and Abuchi. But let me begin with you, Jerry. Which would you want us to talk about? A lot of disturbing story there. And we want us to talk about the very first story recently.
Yeah, it's very, very new setting. It's very, very disturbing and very disastrous that we have encountered. Currently, these security breaches, losing lives, is very, very disturbing. And like the police said, it needs a tough, approach to the matter, because the thing is, recurring here and there. I think the governor and the government of the state need to do some rejigging of the security architecture. I don't know if the technology is still working, the CCTV cameras and all that. It was used during former governor.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, Mr. Jerry. I'm going to ask you, I want us to be very practical, in this analysis. Do you believe that we are ready to fight insecurity in Anambra State or generally in Nigeria? Because you talked about the CCTV, and I remember the governor, bringing all of those apparatus and all of that. Yeah. Are we sincere in our struggle, in our fight for insecurity in this country or this state?
If it is in the country, we are not, but in the state, the governor, one will say that is still new, but like I was about saying, the technology aspect of it need to be, brought in again, because that will help to track the perpetrators of the acts. And you can see that during the Obiano's regime, you hardly hear of any of these killings here and there. And if you have any kidnapping, they are caught. Yeah, because of that technology I'm talking about.
All right, let me pause you there. Let me hear from you, Comrade. Abuchi, bad news to Anambra State, to the House of Assembly, and of course, the situation was really a shameful one. What is your take on all of this insecurity in the state?
Actually, we are in for really a sad moment. In fact, every one of us were really saddened by this ugly development. It is now part of the daily existential struggle that you wake up, all you need to do is to behold a sad news coming out from different communities in Anambra State. But I think there's need for concerted effort. We must really go back to the drawing board and find out where and how we've got it wrong. Because I believe that this wasn't the Anambra we all aim and prayed for. We are expecting that by now we should have a level of peaceful or relatively peaceful Anambra, so to say, security-wise. So I'm saying that those saddled with the responsibilities of guiding the life and properties of people should live up to their expectation and to be alive to their responsibility. And every Anambra should know that security is a collective responsibility. See something, say something.
See something, say something. That brings me to a very next story before we probably move on to the various papers we have this morning. The second one says Soludo reinstate resolves. Of course, the governor reinstate resolve to tackle insecurity and announces a 10 million naira reward for information. Now, this particular story, I want us to talk about it. This is not the first time. I feel like the government, both at the federal level, at the state level, they're always used to the fact that when issues like this happen, they bring money for bounty, reward on information and all of that. Is this really the way to go?
Yeah, it's it's a universal way to approach it. Even in advanced climes, they pledge some money for people who can give useful information to track out. But the issue, again, it shouldn't be only on elite or highbrow people. If a common man is skilled, will they bring out that kind of money for informants? So what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. They should apply such things to common men who are killed and slaughtered also. It's just another way of encouraging.
Let me hear from you, Comrade. Is this the way to go? Because it looks as if when issues like this happen, a particular sum of money is being, announced for information and all of that. What's your take generally on it?
My take generally is that if you continue to do the same thing all the time and you're expecting the different results, I think that's why I said it is time for us to look inward and in retrospect how far we've gone. The issue of placing reward, monetary reward, has yielded the desired result, going from past events. So I don't think it is the right thing in my own perspective, my personal opinion. We should find a different way of approaching this because those you are dealing with, the more I don't think there should be a level of some kind of secret arrangement in trying to get the perpetrators. Coming on air to announce this will harden them. And even if there are other people in their disposal, they will want to show off by trying to maim those people. We can't continue to lose lives in course of trying to retrieve lives. So there should be a better approach. And in this climb, information dissemination or information management has been the most difficult thing to do. I'm a media practitioner through and through, and what's the concern of average man in the village? Talking about the issue of 10 million naira. The person will first of all ask you, revealing this information, and at the same time I have myself to blame. My children, my family wiped out. Because the same people you are dealing with still go back there and mess you up. So how are we sure that the security of those people revealing those information will be safe? So I think it's neither here nor there. Let's look out for alternative way of addressing this problem.
All right, spot on. That takes us to our very first paper this morning. Quickly, let's look at the National Light newspaper. The National Star, rather. National Star is our very first paper this morning with the big story there. Says Electoral Act. Confusion in APC, PDP over statutory delegates. And up there we've got gunmen kidnap popular pastor son in Ondo. And of course, Deborah Samuel, Christians protest killing, demand justice. APC presidential primary, Umahi Okorocha, Wajuba, Ono others forge alliance. Beheaded lawmaker, Assembly holds emergency security meeting. Ogun River Basin sells assets valued at 2 billion naira for 13.6 million. And of course, we've got federal government appoint Nwabwako to oversee OAGF in acting capacity. Stories making the headlines. Mr. Jerry, which would you want us to talk? Let's just pick a story there and look into it.
Yeah. That of Deborah is still trending.
Okay.
Christians protesting the killing.
And demanding justice.
Yes. I joined them in demanding justice to be meted out to we're happy that about 3 of those culprits are arrested. Let nobody sweep it under the carpet. They should face the process of the law, and once they are convicted, they should be punished adequately, so that it will serve as a deterrent to some of these fanatics that call themselves.
How are we sure about the culprits? Because we're also hearing stories that they are not from the northern states. In fact, they're not Nigerians. They're from neighboring countries. How are we even sure that justice will be served? Comrade, justice has actually been a big problem in Nigeria.
Whoever, whether it's from Nigeria or whatever, anybody who commits offense, wherever, we face the law. Just last week.
Let's hope, because like I said, the police says that they cannot see any of them because they are not from Nigeria and all of that.
Last week, a Danish man
was sentenced to death.
So, if you are living in a country, you should be very civil.
Yeah. All right, comrade, what's your take?
That's part of the problem we have in this part of the world. We are really not sincere with ourselves. We have what happened to information gathering, intelligence gathering. What happened to it? We all have. We have the NCC here. We have all the telecommunication companies. These people are doing this. They have their phone lines. They move around. They make calls. They make transactions. And you're telling me you don't know them.
And I asked the question earlier: how sincere are we in the fight of this insecurity in the country?
That's the problem. We are really aiding and abetting, indirectly or directly, this evil act, and it's becoming a recurrent decimal. No part of the country is safe now. Nowhere. Go to the northeast, go to the northwest, north central, southwest, southeast, and south. We are really in for a big trouble.
All right, let's see who is there this morning. Hello, good morning. All right, so you can also join in the discussion this morning, not just the 3 of us. You can also make your contributions, and there are ideas you probably want to also share. We'll be here to get that. We have the first caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Adamawa.
Adamawa, what's your name, brother?
I'm calling you from Adamawa.
Yes, I can hear you clearly all the way from Adamawa. What is your name? Hello, go ahead.
Now, the issue of saying that the dealers are not from this country, I don't believe with that story, because definitely they know those that are committed this thing, and there is no way that an outsider will come and murder the Nigerian citizen in the name of fanaticism or any other thing. So me, I'm against the story that these people are not from this country. It's a big lie, it's a total lie.
All right, thank you very much. In as much as I did not get your name all the way from Adamawa.
My name is Joshua.
All right, Joshua, thank you so much for your contributions. Thank you so much.
That's part of this. That's insincerity in the
Yes, we're talking
approach.
about, All right, let's leave that and move on to our very next paper this morning. Daily Sun is the next. Let's look at a big story on the Sun this morning. Says PDP presidential ticket, hope rises for Bala Muhammad. And the big one says 2023, governors fight dirty in bid to impose successors. Employ every means to have their ways as parties hold primaries this week. APC Southeast presidential aspirants meet, insist on ceding ticket to Zone. Onuwajuba Nnamani Okorocha, others attend. Why I was absent? Well, that's coming from Dave Umahi. Down there, 2023 presidency, I'm in the race to win, and that's coming from Lawan. Urges supporters to disregard withdrawal rumor. All right, still on Anambra lawmakers mourn murdered colleague, another legislator abducted. Soludo pledges 10 million naira bounty on assailants. And of course, we've got PDP Electoral Committee OK's Enugu Rep State Assembly primary electoral bill aspirants lawmaker fume over Buhari's stance. Well, big story on the Sun this morning. 2023 governors fight dirty in bid to impose successor. Big story on the Sun. Comrade, let me begin with you. What is really going on? I have a question to ask before you probably come up with your opinion. What is this issue with whenever election period is coming, governors, lawmakers and all of that, pick so much special interest, and just after the election process, it looks as if we're back to status quo?
Well, working. If you want to leave office, you want to hand over to someone who will improve or from where you stopped, someone who will continue that progressive drive, which you've instituted. But in a situation whereby you have the wrong person who may not understand the dictates of the state, the person will come and mess up and take people 10 or 20 steps backward. So I think that is in this case. But in all, what I'm saying is that some of the governors are not even their deficiency.
All right, let's say this. Hello, good morning. All right, go ahead.
Okay, some of the governors are not even, they are below par in terms of performance. So they don't have much on ground. So I wonder why they are trying to impose a successor. But I think it's just for them to cover what the skeleton they had on cupboard. But it's still, it behoves the electorate to elect somebody who will lead the state. The problem we have here is that even if someone is trying to anoint a successor and you are trying to bring me out, the electorate should do the needful by voting in the right candidate. But here we don't do that. We say the power that we have already said, the power from above have said that this is the man who is going. Even in our local politics, even in our villages, it's now trickling down to the village. They will say, somebody has said it to, and this person said this is the person that is going. And every other person will queue behind that person without asking those probing questions if really this person will deliver.
Okay, good. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
I on to 8 years.
Amazing, you are. Your name and location?
Hello, good morning. This is Yakubu from Niger State.
Yakubu from Niger State. Go ahead with your contributions, my brother.
Yeah, I just want to air my own view concerning the issue of the killing in Sokoto.
Okay.
And the arrests that have been made.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the claim that those arrested are not Nigerians. But facts have shown that those that killed her were her schoolmates. So does that mean, logically, does that mean that these schoolmates of her are only from Niger, that among them there are no Nigerians? So I don't feel there is a kind of inconsistency in what the police is trying to say about, these people are not Nigerians. So whoever they are, I think is something, whoever they are, they should be kept and they should be interrogated to produce, if they are Nigerians, they should have formed an alliance with Nigerians to have done that. They can't come from across the border to commit this act and just go away free. I don't feel there is something that the authority is trying to hide in this very case.
All right.
I pray by God's grace it will be exposed.
Amen. Thank you so much, Yakubu from Niger State. We appreciate your contributions. Thank you so much. Moving on to our next paper this morning. Leadership is next. Let's look at what leadership has for us this morning. Still on the election, 2023 election, says postponement of APC presidential screening unsettles aspirants. And of course, we have farmers worry over insecurity, climate change, others as planting season begins. Electoral Act, APC stalking crisis to stall 2023 elections, PDP. And of course, Deborah's issue in Sokoto, Khan holds peaceful protest in state and FCT. Okay, all right, that's about it. Mr. Jerry, what's your take on the big story? Is there any other story you want us to talk about?
Which one do you want us to?
Let's look at the big story. Postponement of APC presidential screening unsettles aspirants. The 2023 election approaches.
It's normally the norm during the primaries, jostling for offices, horse trading, and every other thing. So, but they should look at the timetable brought out by INEC. So if they do not go through, obey the timetable of the INEC, some of them could be very costly. Some party may, at the end of the day, may not be able to meet up the demands of the INEC, and that will cost them their chances. Right. So I pray that they will settle down as quickly as possible and do their primaries.
All right, quickly, let's move on to the next paper. We've got a lot of papers. Punch is next. Let's look at what Punch has for us this morning. Governorship primaries, it says, crisis rocks Rivers or your Benue. APC's factions reject delegates list. With riders there, process skewed in Rivers. No delegates election in Benue, factional leaders. Adilabu Folarin, factions produced 2 delegates list in Oyo awaits NWC's verdict. Nigeria loses 2.2 trillion revenue to oil production delays. That's coming from a report. Subscribers kick as federal government slams 90 billion naira new tax on phone calls. Nigerians spend $221 million on foreign education in 3 months. That's coming from the Central Bank report. And we have frozen accounts of over 50 firms operating loan apps. That's coming from the FCCPC boss. And down there, 1 killed as violent parallel pose PDP primaries. Mechanic Union ex-chairman assaults 2 Lagos panel beaters. Victims go dumb. While Wiki G3, the Gogo, is contesting governorship, Rivers PDP may not have candidate for election. That's coming from the lawyer. Comrade, these are stories on the Punch this morning. Which would you want us to talk about?
This issue, I know it will definitely come to this. I know I laugh it out when you talk about the delegate list not being accepted.
Yeah.
People quarreling over it. And it goes to show why some people, I just saw some cartoon this morning whereby a man went to marry, and he got to the in-laws, proposed in-law place, and it was like, the woman was like, you want to seek my hand, my daughter's hand in marriage. Please, young man, what do you do for a living? He said, I'm a PDP delegate. So that will tell you that it's all about the money, you know.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's just imagine being a PDP delegate already compare you, automatic billionaire.
You can imagine.
So that is where the fight are. And when we talk about these things, let all the things the politicians are doing and things how they get things bloated out of proportion are really harmful to our political and democratic process. So what happened in Rivers State is not new, and I believe in other states they are having the same issue, crisis here and there. Eventually, all the political parties.
All right. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. All right. So go ahead quickly.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. That if you look at it this way, you find out what informed this internal crisis they are having is just because who gets what. You know, assuming that they are going for this, let's go and vote for a candidate of our choice without any monetary inducement or enticement, you find out that people will just be unwilling to do all this. But because money is involved, and looking at the economic shape of the country, you know that we are this pure economic crunch. A lot of things are skyrocketed, goods and services are nowhere to. So people are really hungry. So imagine an hungry man asking him not to part with 50,000 naira. The person is ready to say, okay, I'm going to vote your candidate because the money you are giving to me.
Unless we'll save him for some days.
Yeah, so let's just play down on this money politics. But is it really possible in this present Nigeria? People are hungry.
Let's look at this story, Mr. Jerry. Subscribers kick as federal government slams 90 billion naira new tax on phone calls. Where do we really go from here? We're talking about the many problems in Nigeria, ranging from insecurity, the high cost of living, now tax on phone. We talk about, all those DSTV subscribers and all of that. Where do we really go from here?
It's impoverishing Nigerians more and more, if there's anything you can talk about, the capital of the poverty capital of the world. If anything, you can go for anything more than that. That's where we are heading to, and that's where we are. So instead of government trying to make life livable for people, they are putting them harder into problems. So it's really unfortunate that they are taxing the masses more and more, and that's why we are saying that the country need a good leader to see if we can
make headways.
Make headways.
All right, let's move on to our next paper. Daily Independent is actually the next paper this morning. Let's look at the stories on the Independent this morning. Domestic airlines lose 1.5 billion monthly to blocked seats. Revised policy on book on hold. PDP alerts and plots by APC to stall 2023 elections. Elongates tenure, says APC leaders behind delay in signing amended electoral act. Utomi Falana, Jega, third force, adopts Labour Party. Federal government appoints acting accountant general of the Federation. Arewa community asks riders to comply with Lagos Okada ban. And of course, we have why Nigerians didn't endorse OECD two-pillar solution on tax. That's coming from the FIRS. Of course, amended electoral threats over primaries as APC, PDP decides. Stories making the headlines on the Independent this morning. Comrade Abuchi, which would you want us to talk about? Let's quickly look at the federal government appointing acting accountant general of the Federation. Of course, the stories have been trending online for weeks now. That the accountant general,
$80 billion one man state.
What is going on in
It's
this
now
country?
the third state. Although there is a revelation yesterday, River State again. Somebody has now
120.
4 states that can now produce over 80 billion naira. We have Lagos Rivers, the Accountant General, and the River State Accountant General too. He went away with a tune of 122 billion naira as of yesterday. So if EFCC is on his way, they are looking for him. So now we have individuals just earning more than a state in terms of IGR. So the Accountant General of the Federation and the River State Accountant General. So we have 4 states now.
How did we get here? How did we get here?
That's what we're talking about. The falcon will no longer fear the falconer. So who is really to address the problems? I remember when this government came in place, one of the cardinal goals they said they are going to achieve is to fight corruption. And today corruption is even the one fighting us. We are being submerged. And people are those who are fighting the corruption are being corrupt and getting themselves enmeshed in corruption. So who is going to take us to the promised land? So if you look at it this way, you find out that the country is really in a mess. But I really want to talk about the pictorial picture you have in that Daily Independent newspaper, where a Christian Association of Nigeria, Bayelsa State, we're talking about justice for Deborah. I really want to say something on that because that's to tell you how retrogressed we are as a people. Such a thing happened in a state, in a Sokoto state, in North Central State, and the governor of the state is moving around John Ketting, asking people to vote him as a president, talking about Tambuwai. So he's going around asking people to vote him, whereas you cannot address what happened, showing us how destabilized you are. As a governor, you cannot even prove that. Meanwhile, you're going about asking people for votes and asking the delegates to vote you into power. So now look at Atiku, for instance. You're coming to lead a Nigerian, a secular state, not even a religious state, and you deleted a tweet in a situation whereby you sympathize for what the drastic act perpetrated by the Islamic fanatics, and you came around again to delete your tweet. So what does that goes to tell you? Do we have a chicken-hearted person trying to be the president of this country? We really need people who think out of the box, who can stand their words and fight headlong every religious fanaticism in this country.
Which is so good, but then again, would you blame Atiku for deleting it, knowing fully well that when it comes to the election process, you have higher number in the north, and it looks as if the northern people are the one who wins the election in Nigeria.
If you should go that way, I really want to call your mind to what the former senator representing Kogin West said. He said, if you say the truth, you die. If you tell the truth, you die. So why not stand on the truth? You must still be the president of the country. Let it be for once very recorded a man who stands on his feet to condemn that barbaric act. Let us see a destabilized Nigeria who is coming to fight for us. We the South, we the people from the southern Nigeria can still vote him with the pockets of vote from the north. He might still be the president. So talking about deleting a tweet for mere sentiment or fear of losing an election is just a parochial interest, and I'm not that kind of person.
What's your take, Mr.
My
Jerry?
take is that he shouldn't have done the deleting. He should have allowed it to go there, and the people who want the truth, who knows the truth, will actually go for him. So I can tell you, when our own Chipito B was in Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, was wanting to board and plane to one of these northern states, and other passengers there was no plane, there was nothing for them, so everybody were stranded, and he abandoned his trip to the northern, was there with them, sympathized with them, made some phone calls. Before you know it, that matter was resolved. They boarded and they left. He also left. That shows you the kind of man who is for the masses. You have to be with the masses to solve their problem.
Well, let's see how that goes. Comrade Abuchi says, who's going to take us to the promised land? Mr. Jerry says you have to be with the masses and support them when they really need you most. Well, let's see how that really plays out as the 2023 election approaches. Quickly, Vanguard is our next paper. Let's look at the stories this morning on Vanguard newspaper. The big story says why Buhari is not signing Electoral Act. Well, that's coming from various sources. We've got opt for moral high ground. APC leaders behind delay. That's coming from PDP. APC keeps mum. His right to refer bill for checks. That's coming from Olawikbo Hashim. And Bankole canvasses modified consensus to decide APC candidate. Up there, how bad governance hinders Nigeria's economic development. Electricity generation drops by 7% to 3,284 megawatts. 2023, Nigeria at crossroads over quality of politicians. That's coming from NESG. And APC postpones presidential screening indefinitely. Okay, we've also talked about beheaded Anambra lawmaker. Soludo in shock offers 10 million bounty on killers. We're talking about the Electoral Amendment Act.
Yeah, really, that...
Okay.
I can tell you that I'm not very, very comfortable with Mr. President for up to this time not signing that bill. You know, why we didn't use the Electoral Act in 2019 election was because Mr. President did not assent to that bill, saying that it was close to the election.
Okay.
And that helped the APC benefited from not signing that bill. And the same thing is playing out this time. The president is delaying in assenting to this. You know, this country, I don't know why we have gotten people who don't want things to work well in the country. You know, the amended Electoral Act has, you know, some inputs that can help us improve the electoral system in Nigeria. Why can't Mr. President sign this bill so that we make a better election out of the country? And he's still delaying on that. So I'm not comfortable, and I'm not happy that he is not signing that bill now.
Abuchi.
You know, I think
PDP says they're delaying. It's a deliberate act.
of course, it's obvious. I don't see what should be delaying it, but for obvious reasons, I think there must be something they're trying to tell us, Nigerians. You know, politics is about interest, and no politician would like to give room to his opponent to take a better part of a particular policy. So I think whatever they are doing is for them, for their own personal aggrandizement, talking about the ruling party. Okay, the presidency must have been briefed on how it will militate
against them,
survival.
but it's not in the interest of Nigerians.
How it should be. That's one of the things we are still talking about.
We can make progress.
We need that man. We need that person who will come and say that I'm here for the masses.
Yeah, that's... You know.
And when you said you are here for the masses, the masses' interest must override every other interest. So that is the kind of people we are looking for.
All right, the kind of people we're looking for. Okay, good. Telegraph is our next paper, the new Telegraph. Let's look at the big story. There's still the 2023 elections coming up. Buhari moves to resolve APC crisis on consensus. And of course, we've got up there IMF, Nigeria capable of repaying loan obligations, seeks adoption of robust tax system. Down there, we've got Sokoto Delta Zamfara. Others defy CAN. PDP primaries, Lagos rejects delegates list. We were only 5 contenders in APC. Others are pretenders. That's coming from Fayemi. And of course, why looting culture is continued unabated by lawyers. Well, big story on the Telegraph, comrade Abuchi. Let me begin with you, Mr. Jerry. 2023, Buhari moves to resolve the APC crisis or consensus. We'll see what's really happening with the APC candidates.
This matter will continue to, unfold since they don't want to do the right thing. What is a consensus candidate? Is that, imposition. So, good conscience and good school of thought mooted the idea of direct primaries. Those guys that, does not want us to make progress went for indirect. Okay, instead of allowing the indirect, they are now talking of consensus candidates. It's imposition. If you have an indirect, if you have a direct primary, that's where every member of the party come together to elect somebody that they think they can be a good candidate. But indirect is anointing.
The imposition.
So it doesn't go well for good governance.
All right, let's leave it at that. Let's quickly move on for want of time. The Nation newspaper is next. Let's look at the Nation this morning. The big one on the Nation says drama clashes upset, says at PDP reps assembly primaries. And up there we've got ABC insists on screening Jonathan Emefiele Ngige. Gunman kills 4 kids, mom, 2 others. Police station raised. 4 bodies recovered in collapsed Lagos building. Lagos area community OK's Okada restriction. Down here we've got firms, businesses await CBN's decision on rates. I'm Comrade Abuchi. There's a few stories on the Nation. And a sad story there, a gunman kills 4 kids, mom, 2 others.
That is the issue. Insecurity everywhere. Just like what we said in the beginning of this newspaper review, we noticed that it is not just here. All parts of the country, nowhere is safe.
It's not safe.
So
no safe.
Life is no longer sacred. When we were growing up doing our catechism class, and we were taught that life is the most precious thing created by God, and you cannot actually
touch
you cannot remove what you cannot create. But here you see people maiming and lynching people here and there. You know, life is no longer sacred, and no thanks to the present day leadership. We have a leadership lacuna that made it so possible that even if you get killed, you and nobody will talk about you. Yeah. And remember, no amount of justice you get that will bring back the dead. You know. So now people are killing, thinking that if once you are connected, you can kill and get away with it, and you get a good lawyer. And at the end of the day, even the justice system is not helping matters. So you see that the things have deteriorated in such a level that anybody can wake up morning and stab somebody to death and nothing will happen.
And the painful part is, Mr. Jerry, is that everyone is a target. There is no particular set of people. Everyone is a target. The rich, the poor, the
bourgeois, everyone.
That's the irony of the whole thing, you know. So nobody's safe, you know, in the country. You know.
All right, let's look at our last 2 papers. Tribune newspaper, the Nigerian Tribune, and we'll also look at This Day finally. Let's quickly look at what the Tribune has for us this morning. It says the big story there, APC again about screening of presidential aspirants. Of course, with riders there, Umahi Okorocha orders Axe Party to concede presidential ticket to Southeast. NAS, governor aspirants angry with APC and WC. The Meiji Bankole canvasses modified consensus to decide APC candidate. Up there, we've got rising cost of vehicles. Nigerian dealers turn to accidented cars for profit. Chaos, suspension, cancellation characterized PDP primaries. And of course, can RCCG overseer demand justice for Deborah? Say no to killing of Christians. Quickly, let's look at This Day newspaper, our final paper this morning, while we actually round off the press review this morning. Wajuba, Tinubu, Osibajo and Mosun not suitable for Nigeria's current work plan. Argues Southwest angling for power makes no sense. Declares Nemani Onu are disadvantaged by age. Explains zoning is difficult after people had purchased farm. Says bandits attacked Kaduna train because they thought they were delegates coming to collect dollar in Abuja. And up there we've got AFDB to lend $500 million to women in 2022, says Adeshina. Quickly, let's look at the story on This Day, Comrade, and of course Mr. Jerry Well Roundup. Wajuba says Tinubu Osibanjo Amosu not suitable for Nigeria's current work plan. And of course with the riders there says he also declares Nnamani Onu are also disadvantaged by age.
Yeah, of course I share his sentiments. In fact, the Tinubu of this world has already shown the kind of person he is. or what the kind of leadership he's bringing to the table if he eventually emerge as the president of this country. You know, imagine sidelining the entire Southeast. Tinubu has never visited one southeastern state. I don't know if you are observing such such howler from a man who intends to lead a nation. Meaning that he doesn't regard you people. He doesn't even care a hoot about what is going on in Southeast. So he thinks that you are a laughable minority. He doesn't need you. So on that premise, I'm supporting Wajuba that Tinubu should go and rest. He has shown how bitter.
The age is not on his side.
Age-wise, everything is not working for him. We know how what played out in Lagos State when he was the governor of Lagos State between 1999 to 2007. We all know what happened. Yeah. So you enrich yourself, and since then you've been playing this partisan politics. And imagine a man who cannot even visit the states in the southeast to even seek for a vote, and you think that if he becomes the president, he will remember you. We need to think out of the box. We need to see the handwriting on the wall and join every forces to make sure that Tinubu, in whatever guise, in whatever means, does not emerge as a candidate of even Abuja political party. I'm not talking about political party.
Okay, so quickly,
my take quickly is that you know, whatever they are doing, if they don't zone the presidency to the southeast, that means it's no longer one Nigeria, because the West had it, the South had it. This time around, supposed to be Southeast. So they should, whatever they're doing, zone it to the Southeast. We have credible candidates who can, you know, rejig the country, who can make this country better for the people of Nigeria, improve the standard living of the people. People are suffering. You know, I remembered the acclaimed winner of June 12th. All the agitations from the Southwest made the stakeholders in Nigeria to come together and say, let us zone this to the West and douse the tension. Let them do same to the Southeast. There's a lot of agitation here.
All right, thank you so very much. Well, you know, we can actually go on, and of course, you know, talk about the many stories on the different papers this morning. But of course, you can also go out, go pick the papers, any of the papers. If you want to pick all of them, fine. If you want to pick any of them, fine. Get to read up, get to, you know, get educated, entertained, and of course, informed on what is happening in the world, so you don't get caught unawares. Well, this is exactly what we're drawing the curtains on today's edition of the program, Press Review. And of course, we want to say a very big thank you to our guests this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Jerry Obodo, a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And of course, finally, Comrade Abuchi Anwumelo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, it's amazing having both of you on the show. Well, good morning, and we'll continue shortly. Still, stay with us.